Hello everyone, Virixiss here. As you can tell by the title, this is in fact the video I've been hyping up for the last week. I have secured a 10-question interview with Digital Confectioners, and I will be sharing their answers with you today, as I feel that illuminating some of these answers will show us a little bit more what goes on behind the minds of our favorite shark-based game. A special thanks goes out to James Tan, who is the technical director and engine developer, and Sam Evans, who is the project manager and the user interface developer of Digital Confectioners. Without further ado, let's dive in. The first question is, what part of the development cycle made you guys sit back and realize your project had real potential, that it wasn't just a pipe dream and that people would really enjoy playing it? Sam's answer: probably at some point in 2013-2014 when playtesting internally. During the period where Depth had just one shark player versus everyone else. I think we were aiming to a scale between 1v3 and 1v5. It's a good sign when you don't want to finish internal playtests because the game is so fun. Question number 2. Hopefully a lot of us are familiar with how Depth is balanced internally. What's something that was a real pain to bring into balance before you release it into the wild? Sam's response: the asymmetry aspect. 2 sharks, 4 divers. It sounds simple, just make the sharks twice as powerful. But it's not. It impacts absolutely everything about weapon design, map design, objective design, etc., etc. Getting to a rough version of the asymmetry, working as we wanted it, took well over a year for our team. More recently, a lot of our thoughts had been with considering new player balance separately to veteran player balance, as the asymmetry forces different learning curves onto the 2 sides. As a personal aside here, I would like to state that it is very nice that you are taking that into serious consideration, seeing as how I think everyone will agree that it is for the betterment of the community moving forward. Question number 3. What is the internal reaction to seeing player suggestions and reactions to events? How often do you and the team see an idea or some artwork that might end up considering either as part of an event or for community treasures, for example? Sam's answer: suggestions from the community are extremely useful to us. We don't like to respond too much as priorities can change and things get cancelled internally, which happens far more than I suspect the average gamer would guess. I've noticed that it's particularly likely that the quality of life or improvement suggestions are included. These can come from unexpected angles. For example, if we see threads from players who are confused about a feature, that's a strong indicator we need to improve how that feature is explained. Less likely to be implemented are larger features like game modes, where the cost would run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Reactions specifically to events have been really useful. Events give us a good opportunity to try different things every month or so and see how people respond. Question number 4. At the beginning of the year, you decided to continue work on Depth 1 to the exclusion of Depth VR and the pre-production of Depth 2. Is Depth VR dead or simply put on hold at the moment? Sam's response: it's on hold. We're watching the uptake of VR and VR titles very closely. We're not a large studio, so we have to be careful where we spend our time. As a personal note, as good as Depth VR looks, I personally believe that VR is going to go the way of 3D TV, and if I saw that Depth VR was taken off the roadmap, I would see no tears from me. Question number 5. What would you say is the biggest hurdle the team has to face while moving Depth forward throughout the year? Sam's response: player retention has been the top of the list for a while now. We're proud of Depth's gameplay and out-of-game systems, but we are also competing with other great titles that draw the attention of Depth players. There's still more work to be done to keep players in the water. As a personal note, I completely and totally agree with this. Most of the problems that most of us vets often have simply stem from the fact that our community is not large enough to sustain bigger, more fully featured features. Question 6. Did anyone on the team imagine Depth would have such a group of dedicated players that formed mini communities around each other? How do such micro-communities make you guys feel about how people enjoy your game? Sam's response: no, actually. We were hoping early that we'd be able to keep Depth alive for a year, which was what we thought was a reasonable goal for an indie player title. We are coming up on 3 years now, so we're really appreciative that people enjoy the game so much. Question 7. Were there any lessons you guys learned about modes like Megalodon Hunt and Hide and Seek that are largely considered dead? Sam's response: yep, lots. Interestingly, not every game mode added to a game has the same goals or success criteria, and being played a lot isn't always the goal, although it sure is for Blood and Gold. One key lesson was that while we can make a game mode in a few months, to make a truly great original game mode with depth in its meta, you have to really put a lot of time into it. Years, not months. Question number 8. What was the thought process behind deciding to begin Depth 2? Was it new ideas, better technology, or maybe taking to a fresh slate with all you've learned from Depth 1? Sam's response: tech is a massive reason. Depth is based on Unreal Engine 3, which we enjoy working with, but Unreal Engine 4 has a bunch of areas where it is simply a lot more productive. Epic has made massive strides, and Unreal Engine 4 keeps getting better. Add that to the risks with porting Unreal Engine 3 to other platforms, like consoles, it's no longer supported, so we're on our own to get it running. And when the platform holders change their APIs, it's again on us to fix it up. Another key reason is the art. Depth was started by a passionate indie team and brought to launch by a completely broke and passionate indie team. And it was an awesome experience. But unfortunately, some of the art assets in the game now show their age and lack of budget. Some of the assets are as much as 8 years old now. Question number 9. Is there any little teasers you can give us for what we can look forward to in Depth 2? Sam's response: at this point, we're too focused on improving Depth to have announceable features for a sequel. Our development and planning energies are still fully aimed at supporting our Depth 1 player base. As a personal aside, I kind of threw this question in there just to see what I could get. And while I've kind of expected this answer, I'm also very happy to see that you are not going to abandon a game just to move on to what you view as greener pastures. We greatly appreciate the time and effort you put in. At least I do. And finally, question 10. What are your favorite sharks around the office? In-game or in real life? Why? Sam's response: Team White Tip. Sorry, I had to. My favorite shark would be the Thresher. Their hunting method is just so insanely cool. In-game, though, I would prefer to pick Tiger. And if I must muse about cool future sharks, which is totally no guarantee, a saw shark, not a sawfish, would be totally awesome. As a personal note, I would have to agree. Seeing a saw shark with the threshing mechanic would be amazing. Although I can't really hype it up, because then we would have a bunch of crap to throw out into the ether about where is our saw shark. That has been the 10 questions that I sent to Digital Confectioners, along with 10 answers that they responded to in kind. I thank everyone at Digital Confectioners for taking the time out of the day to help a little old content creator like me. And I will say that there were actually 11 questions, but the 11th question is reserved for Alex Quick, so that may be coming up in another video. Thanks for sticking with me for all of Shark Week 2017. If you truly enjoyed this video, please, again, like and subscribe. I know it's a bunch of YouTube trite, but it really does work. YouTube continuously changes their algorithm to say that new videos with high like to dislike ratios are the only ones that get seen. If you want to see my videos and feel like leaving a like is just too much energy to spend right now, instead just click the big red button down below so you can make sure to keep up with all of my videos as I put them out. Once again, guys, my name is Virixiss. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time in the water.